Welcome, aspiring lord, to the medieval world of Manor Lords, where your journey begins not with a grand castle or vast armies, but with nothing more than a handful of loyal families and an empty plot of land. In this unforgiving yet rewarding realm, you'll discover that true nobility isn't inherited. It's earned through careful planning, wise resource management, and the ability to transform a simple settlement into a thriving medieval powerhouse. Whether you're drawn by the promise of commanding mighty armies and epic battles, the satisfaction of watching your carefully planned town bustling with life, or the strategic depth of medieval economics and politics, Manor Lords offers a uniquely immersive experience that rewards both patience and ambition. But where others see only wilderness and opportunity, the wise lord sees challenges ahead. Harsh winters that can starve your people, bandits that threaten your villages, and rival lords who covet your growing prosperity. Success here isn't just about building bigger, it's about building smarter. In this guide, we'll walk you through everything you need to know, not just to survive your first seasons, but to lay the foundation for a settlement that will stand the test of time. From your very first villagers' tents to a bustling metropolis, every decision matters and every mistake is a lesson in medieval statecraft. So gather your courage, sharpen your wits, and prepare to claim your place among the great lords of the realm. Your people are waiting, your land is ready, and your legacy begins now. All right, welcome to Manor Lords. This is an early access medieval city builder game that's really captured my interest because of its great organic city building nature. A lot of games you get stuck into the grid and repetition. Manor Lords breaks out of that with its unique way that burgage plots are built. And yeah, the early access version has really captured my interest as far as the aesthetics of a great looking city builder. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on a new game today. Now, when you set up a new game, you can select any number of portraits, any number of names. You can also customize your name. So let's go here with a red beard. And you can also adjust your coat of arms. So you can pick a different tile shapes, different fields, look at different textures in each. So if you wanted complementary or any of these, you can do those. You can also save your coat of arms and then load custom textures. I've got one that I set up before. I like that pretty well. Nice little dragon there with a shovel on the other side. Represents my industrial nature. So when you're getting started in a game, there are actually three different scenarios. There's the Rise to Prosperity, which is a non-combat situation. Your goal is just to grow your town up to the large town settlement level. After that, once you've reached that, you can continue playing in sandbox mode. It's really nice, casual. Then the middle ground here is Restoring the Peace, and that is that you've got territories that are claimed by the Baron, who lives off-map, and he sends in mercenaries, he sends in his own army and retinues, and claims regions around you, and even starts pressing claims against your regions if you let him get far enough. There is also bandits that will set up camp in unclaimed regions, and you'll get raiders every couple of years who'll come in and try to ransack your town. So that's an interesting combination of influence factors, combat, and growth. And then finally, on the edge, grow your city, and you have raiders that are coming in on a regular basis. You will also have bandit camps that will be kind of adding to that conflict area. But there won't be the Baron that's going to press those claims against regions. So you just have to, as you expand, deal with the raiders and deal with the bandits. There are three maps to select from. The first is Germanic Valley, and that's kind of the OG map. It's nice and hilly terrain. There's not a lot of water features. There are a couple of small streams, but beyond that, yeah, anything else, the shoals of fish are just an addition on the map with a more recent addition. Next is the High Peaks map. Now, this is an interesting one because it is a smaller map, and there's only 4 regions available, so it can get rather crowded very quickly if you're dealing with the Restoring the Peace, but it's also a much more manageable map since everything's kind of in this north-south configuration, 4 regions in a row, and you don't have to worry about a large variety of other regions that you get into. It's a nice balancing point there. And then finally, Winding River. This one is a very large map. I think it's got 8 regions that can be claimed. and a large river that cuts through the center of the map. Now, there are 4 bridges within the King's Road that crosses over this map and crosses over that river. Those are great choke points for military combat between regions, and it does drive a rather interesting setup on your gameplay. Now, it's a much larger map. The regions themselves have more space per region. So if you want to get into like really vast farmlands and have really big settlements, Winding River is probably the best one. Although High Peaks is also a very suitable map to run that in. So let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and check out our humble beginnings. We're going to pause things real quick. As we see, we've got our villagers ready to go. So we got a message that our victory condition is dominance. Build up your town, your manor, and when ready, press claims towards regions owned by your opponents. Once a claim has been pressed, be ready for battle. So let's take a look at what resources we have available for us on this map. First, scroll wheel to zoom out and in, or you can also hit M to open and close the map. If you hold your middle mouse button, you can pan the camera around just by holding and dragging. You see the mouse movement and things move along there. And then WASD are how you maneuver the anchor point for that camera. You can also hold F and G to rotate the map. So if you have a mouse that doesn't have a middle mouse button, or you're working on a laptop, that does help. Each region has 2 rich resources. So we see we've got a shoal of fish here and the iron deposit. Both of those have the crown icon on top. There are occasions where you're only going to see 2 of the crowns. So we see we've got a good economic and food situation here. The next region up here, we see a rich wild berry deposit, and cool, it looks like that's the only rich deposit, which tells me the rest of this land is going to be really fertile. We've got a clay deposit, a wild animal deposit. You can check the fertility level. We see emmer is pretty great. That's our wheat. We have flax. We have barley. So good region for farming here. We do have a bandit camp that's camped out. And then the region this direction. Okay, so we got a rich salt deposit, as well as a rich clay deposit. So a good variety of deposit types to work through. That's got a wild animals, stone, and a shoal of fish there as well. On the final zone, a rich wild animal deposit, clay, stone, shoal of fish, and a small iron deposit. So nothing too crazy, but a good start nonetheless. So across the top, we've got some stats that are important to keep an eye out for. First, this is the number of families. We have assigned and unassigned. So assigned families have a building they're working, doing some type of job. Unassigned families are going to help with construction. So if you're in a growth phase, you need to construct new buildings, you need to make sure you have unassigned families. This is your population details. So first is the number of burgage plots that you have available, that people are living in or that are unoccupied or under construction. This is the available living space. So we're at -5 right now. We have 5 unassigned families living out of this little tent camp. So they are homeless folks. We need to get them into buildings pretty quickly, although it does need to be the top priority, just as long as they have something in the next couple of months. That affects the approval rating. So right now we're at a 50% approval. As long as you maintain 50% approval or better, you will gain 1 new family per month, assuming that they have available living spaces to move into. You can increase your approval rating through things like having good food variety at the marketplace, having a church and upgrading that level, and yeah, other entertainment and goods that are available through the market spaces. You can also impact your approval rating by things like homelessness, not having enough food or fuel for your villagers, having them go hungry, and then also taxation at a level. Once you get a manor in, you can go and start taxing your residents and take from your regional wealth. So right now we also have regional wealth starting at 50 gold. That is things that you can use for backyard extension plots. You can use it to trade and barter with other areas, maybe with foreign regions that don't have any qualms selling you materials. This is our livestock. So we see we got 1 oxen and 1 stable space. That 1 oxen sitting around with our hitching posts, which is awesome. We need to build additional hitching posts to bring in new oxen, and oxen are really the backbone of your construction industry. They drag the logs from the logging camps around. They supply, kind of bring those materials back and forth. So if you run into an issue where things aren't being moved efficiently, it might be because you don't have enough oxen, and that's going to be one of the priorities we address first. Here is the months of surplus before supplies run out. So right now we have 3 months worth of food and fuel. We don't have any consumption because the homeless people's tents, they don't require firewood. So that works out pretty well. But we see we've only got 3 months of surplus. So that's something we want to address and keep an eye on this number. At the center, this is our settlement name, and you can hover over it to see what your current settlement level is, as well as what the next level requires. So we see we're in a settler's camp right now, and to get to a small village, we need to construct 5 burgage plots, level 1 or higher. Now, once you reach that next level, you earn a development point. All right, so when we click into the development tree, each region is going to have their own independent tree that you can progress through and specialize that region for something unique. So at the top, we have our agricultural that deals with farming, some orchardry, cultivating, rye, doing irrigation for droughts. On the left side, this is your hunting and gathering. So this is berries, trapping, being better at skinning and all that. On the bottom is your industry. So charcoal, deep mining, armor making, those aspects. And on the right side is trade. So getting foreign supplies, either a firewood cart or a food cart. Trade logistics, so new trade routes are halved, and better deals, reducing the import fees on foreign supplies by 5. So you have that. There are also a limited number of policies. Once you get a manor, you can assign these. So if you have a wild animal on a rich deposit, they breed twice as fast. That is actually a really helpful perk, as long as you don't have to worry about farming in that same region. There's also strict fasting, so citizens skip every 5th meal. Those are just a few of the available options, and then everything else is kind of locked in this early access. Production is empty right now, but eventually this will have a log of your production activities, and trade will show your transactions, what you're importing and exporting from other regions. You can also click this feather to rename your region, and you can feel free to do that whatever you'd like. So we'll set it still with Leonek. On the right hand side, now we have this icon just shows our current surplus versus current total. So goods stored, and then goods that are surplus. When you construct a building, it reserves those resources for that building, but it would still show up in your total goods, but not your surplus goods. The first category is your construction materials. So that's timber, planks, stone, tools, things that you need to use to build buildings and upgrade them. Food, things that your villagers are going to eat. We currently see we have 20 loaves of bread, no other items of food or no other food types on this list, but the more food types you get, the happier your villagers are going to be because they've got a good variety of food available. Next is fuel. So we have charcoal and firewood. Firewood is the default, what you can get from a woodcutter's lodge. The charcoal is a development point you would need to spend, but 1 unit of firewood converts into 2 units of charcoal. So you can be a lot more efficient with your use of trees in the region based on that. Crops, if you get into farming, the number of crops you have of each different type. Now there is also dung and fertilizer. I haven't seen those being used. That may be for a future update. Crafting materials are kind of the intermediate steps from some of the raw materials. They might go through a few different steps. So like iron ore turns into an iron slab that can then be milled into something else. You can also take an iron slab and convert it to iron parts and use that for other construction. So all of those available. And then commodities are some of your finished goods that villagers may want. They like cloaks, clothes, shoes, salt, ale, and herbs. Ale is an important one, especially when you get into level 3 burgage plots. They all want a supply of ale to keep them happy. And you know what? I can relate. On the military side, so any weaponry, armor, or shields you have, they'll show up here. This is in excess of what you have assigned to your militia. Now, our militia is not very well outfitted right now, so we don't have anything to fight with, but we will work on addressing that soon. And then up on the top right-hand side, that's your current portrait, your coat of arms. We see our treasury, so the Lord's treasury that we get from taxing the regions as well. Anytime you ransack a bandit camp, you can take the spoils of war and either send them to your regional wealth, or you can send it to your treasury. This treasury is what you spend to expand into new regions. It's what you would also spend on mercenaries and outfitting your retinue, which is your standing army that you get when you place a manor. This is the annual royal tax. After a couple of years, you start being assessed a royal tax based on the burgage plots, what level they are. So as you expand your civilization, you'll get more of that annual royal tax that is paid. Here's your influence, so your political power that you can use to press a claim on a new region in the map. So we see here, if I select Earlhart, it's unclaimed. I could claim that with 1,000 influence. And for Altbrook, which is claimed currently by the Baron, I could claim that with 2,000 influence. So a little tough once it's claimed already by someone, but that is how you would spend your influence. There's also King's Favor, used for diplomatic purposes, although the diplomacy system in the early access version of the game is pretty lacking. So as we get back in here, there is now the construction menu as well. We got the road tool, and you can see there's a couple of options. You can left click to place a node, and then continue to click and drag, and it'll just draw this line out. You can right click to cancel the most recent node placement if you're not happy with where it's at. You can also adjust the curvature of the road. So while holding control and scrolling up or down, that just makes it more rigid or a more flowing shape. There are road connection points that'll snap to, and if you place a road and you don't like where it's at, you can Alt and left click, and that will remove the road as it sits. For construction, we've got gathering, mining, logistics, residential, farming, industry, trade, administrative, or cosmetic buildings. Under the gathering, this is things like your logging camp that's going to produce timber from the forest. We have the woodcutter's lodge that's going to create firewood. We have a saw pit that turns 1 timber into 5 planks. We got a forester's hut that actually goes out and plants sapling trees that take a couple of years to develop, but that helps replenish some of the forestry that goes on. There is the charcoal kiln that's currently locked. It's a development point you have to spend, but it converts 1 firewood into 2 charcoal, making things more efficient for your fuel. There's also the hunter's camp that you can place near a wild animal deposit, or you can also extend it with the trapping perk that they can get a general passive income of meat. There's the forager's hut. Now, I don't have any berry deposit on this region, so we won't be using it. We have the fisherman's hut, which is the butchers are going to catch fish from an active shoal, and that's definitely a priority for us. And then the apiary, which allows workers to collect honey. So that's also a development point that is required. You don't have any other requirements as far as the apiary for that to collect honey, although they have mentioned in a future update that it will have some affinity for nearby field areas, orchards, and the like. As far as mining, there's two types. We have a stonecutter camp that will be required to harvest your stone deposits. They'll cut those into smaller workable stone that you can then use in your construction. And then we have a mining pit for both clay, iron, and salt deposit. So those mines available in the mining. For logistics, we have a granary, which is our food pantry, basically. It's a food storage that reduces food spoilage and lets you store your food kind of more on a longer term basis. It also generates food carts at the marketplace, so your villagers can have a good variety of food available at that market space. We have a storehouse. So this is where the generic goods are going to be stored. Any military items, hides and leather and clothing, things that are produced that don't require a cold storage like the granary. Those will all go into the storehouses. And then there's the marketplace, which provides market spaces or market stalls that can be used by both the granary and the storehouse to distribute goods. You'll notice this has a square icon here indicating that it is a flexible plot. You can place down 4 points, any size, and it kind of fills in the gaps there. There's a firewood cart and a food cart. These are available from a development perk with the foreign supplies, and you can place those inside a marketplace area. There's also a couple of other things. There's the pack station, which can set up a barter connection. Essentially, you assign a mule and a person, and you designate a region that you want to barter with, and you'll send one type of supplies and receive back a different type of supplies from the region of your choice. Now, there are not very great controls with the pack station here. It just sends everything you got in excess, and it pulls back everything from the other location that it can. So kind of unregulated, but the benefit is it doesn't cost anything from your regional wealth like the trade does. And then there is the hitching post that provides one stable space for an ox, but you can also upgrade that to a small stable which provides 2 spaces. For the other construction, residential, your burgage plots, this is where your villagers are going to live. It sets up their living spaces, and you can have backyard extensions. There's a couple of varieties of storage or burgage plots. So as we see here, let's place down a larger grouping of them. I see this happen a lot. People will go through and they will place a big group and they'll all have these long backyard extensions. You can place those. You can also increase and decrease the number. And as you see, as I go down from 4 units to 3 units, they become double-sized plots. So we have our main living space that constructs as we get started, and then we have a secondary living space that can be expanded in the future, but it keeps a footprint available for that. We also have these backyard extensions that, depending on what you put in there are certain backyard extensions that benefit from a deeper space, more backyard space available, like the vegetable garden or the orchard. And then there's other backyard extensions that don't really need anything extra. So like the chicken coop, the animal pen, and if you go into the second level, the artisan extensions, those don't require anything large. They just have to have the fact that a backyard extension exists. But when you go and convert those into an artisan extension, it takes all of the workers and assigns them to that trade. So if you've got like a blacksmith or a cobbler or a bowyer, the people that are working there or living in that building then become artisans, and they're no longer available in your assignable families. Next up is a well. There are some restrictions. You do have to place it on water, this underground water that they're working through here. You can see there's kind of the overlay for it. A number of spaces where you can actually place it down, but that is one thing that will be a requirement for villagers, is to have access to water. By default, your standard well supplies 15 burgage plots, and you can upgrade that to a stone well, which will supply for 50 burgage plots. Next is a tavern. It supplies ale for up to 15 burgage plots, fulfilling 1 level of entertainment You could extend that to a large tavern that, again, goes from 15 up to 50 burgage plots. And then a wooden church, 1 level of faith requirement. So villagers are going to be happy when they have a church available. And yeah, you can upgrade this from a wooden church to a stone church to increase the level of church access. And then finally, there's a corpse pit, which just allows you to put dead bodies in the ground somewhere. The church also fulfills that requirement, but is a little bit nicer. Sometimes if I've got bandits that have raided my village and I want to just throw insult to injury, I'll have them tossed into a corpse pit rather than let them live in my live in the church graveyard. For farming, so we have fields that are just square areas you can place. If we look, we don't really have anything to place here, but as we extend over here, we'll be able to place some fields and make those happen. Let's say we wanted to look at placing some emmer with a field here. We could just snap to those guides, draw the lines, and construct the field like that. And you can see as we go, we have the field size represented in morgans. 1 morgan is the size of a field that 1 farmer and an ox could plow in a day. At least I might be wrong on that, but it's just a historical kind of unit of measurement, roughly field size, basically. There's also a farmhouse. So with all those fields, you're going to have workers that can run that farmhouse. So you'll need to have 1 farmhouse at least where they'll be able to take grain back and thresh the grain and make that work. There's also a pasture. This creates a space for livestock. Now this has a different size requirement, right? Size specification. It shows you how much pasture space or how many livestock you can supply on that 1 pasture. Again, it's a flexible plot with that square icon, similar to the fields. There's a sheep farm where workers will gather wool from the sheep, and then that wool can then later be spun into yarn in some of the industry. But they'll shear the wool from the sheep, and yeah. Next is the windmill. So once you have grain, right, you've got wheat, that gets turned into grain once it's threshed. And grain can then be converted into flour at the windmill, and then flour at the communal oven can be used to bake bread. So there's those. For industry, these are kind of the conversion buildings. So we have a bloomery that smelts iron ore into iron slabs, and that's going to be essential for us here once we start exploiting this iron deposit. There's a smithy, so the bloomery footprint here. The smithy, which can convert iron slabs into tools. Some buildings require tools in order to be able to construct them, and that's just one of those aspects. Either you start off with some tools, sometimes the bandits steal them and you have to import them, or you could just build them with a smithy. We have a clay furnace, so workers will refine clay into roof tiles. That's an essential construction component for higher tier burgage plots and upgrading your church and your farm, and your church and your tavern. There is a malt house, which lets workers refine barley into malt, and then malt is then used at a brewery, which is an artisan building, to convert that malt into ale, and converting your citizens into happier citizens. There's also a tannery where they tan hides to produce leather. Leather is kind of a level 1 clothing good that's required to keep your villagers' happiness up. But leather also goes into the production of things like shoes at a cobbler's shop. The weaver's workshop, they weave wool into yarn and flax into linen. So if you've got a sheep farm with wool coming in, you want to be able to convert that into yarn. And then you could have a tailor's shop that combines that yarn with dyes and creates, cloaks and stuff like that. A dyer's workshop, where workers refine berries into dyes. That's also good for clothing. Now, we don't have a berry deposit here, so we're not going to be able to use that unless we are importing berries, which might get expensive. For trade, there's two options. One, trading post. Now it says it must be connected to the King's Road, providing a good access for traveling merchants. And then there's also the livestock trading post. So trade will have its own dedicated section here as we start into that. Livestock trading enables you to import sheep and lamb and use your regional wealth to start getting a supply of livestock. The administration, so that's your settlers camp, you have to spend 250 gold from the treasury to place on an empty claim territory to settle it. You get 5 starting families, and 250 is the base construction cost, but you can spend 500 or 750 to double or triple the amount of starting supplies that region will start with. There is a manor, and obviously, being Manor Lords, this is an important aspect that you want to be able to develop. It requires you to be at least level of a small village. So we have to get our first burgage plots created before we're even able to touch the manor. And we do also need 20 planks, some other supplies that are going to be require a little bit of work off of the bat. But our goal is to be able to get both the church and the manor, since those will help. We also have in the cosmetic, we've got a shrine, which is just cosmetic only, and the erase shrubbery brush. So now, next up, beyond the construction tab, we have the army tab, and we don't have any militia units set up yet, but as you go through, you can create a new unit, and you can assign them as militia footmen, which are going to use our sidearms and small shields. You can have them be a spear militia, which are going to use spears and large shields. You can have them be a polearm militia, which just uses polearms, no shields at all. You can also have an archer militia, which uses warbows, or a crossbow militia, which uses crossbows. Now, warbows are easier to build, but lower damage. They do have a pretty good range. Crossbows have a lot higher damage, but a slightly reduced range, and each one takes like 2 planks and 2 metal parts to create. So a little bit more expensive, but it has some benefits. Beyond that, we see this is the update on where all of our supplies are at, how many people we need versus what we have. If I were to go and form a spear militia, it would tell you we're short on recruits, spears, and large shields. So I'm going to just right-click that to disband that for now. This option over here to hire mercenaries lets you spend from your treasury once per month to hire the mercenaries here. And you can have local thugs for 15 treasury cost, 50 for the Battle Brothers, or 110 for the Ravenous Vultures. Your options on mercenaries refresh every month, but that is a cost you have to pay from your treasury in order to recruit them. Sometimes, if you're just getting started and you don't have much military power, it might make sense to hire mercenaries to fight for you, at least until you can get your armory up. Next to that is the map tab, which you can get in and out with the hotkey M as well, and just shows you what you're looking at in the region. There is your help tab. Now this comes with a lot of basic help details depending on what you wanted to look at. You could probably come through and find some basics if you had any questions. It's similar to the text that you'll see when you're looking at, like the question mark over any of the buildings. So good information here. It might save you from a very basic Google search, but some other things are not covered in that help guide. So the community on Reddit, they've got a dedicated Discord server. You can ask questions there or ask your questions in the comment section. Next up is the settings. So we can see we've got some gameplay settings, allowing assignment to multiple control groups. Yeah. Tutorial pop-ups, all this, those options. You got your graphics options. We have our audio levels. We have our controls, which lets you see your key bindings. If you have any questions about those, this is great. So as you are moving around the map, you can just have your key bindings up and scroll through them. Try and get an understanding of what's happening with each. There's obviously we have a cinematic mode with Control C, which is a really great way to view your region without having to do much much finagling with camera angles and such. Just removes that interface, and you can control C to bring it back. And it does unpause as soon as you're ready to go. One thing is you're getting started. Right now, I do like that the two food sources, our shoal of fish and our wild animals, are close together. However, this area is going to be really perfect for our long-term development. And, you know, we've got our clay deposit here. We have the iron deposit right here, kind of front and center. And it would make sense that they would want to develop this area of woodland to be more of a city center. I wouldn't mind trying to get this wild animal deposit to migrate. And you can do that by building, you can either do the shrine, which has 0 construction cost. It's a very small footprint, but you'll notice as you put it inside this red area, it says it will cause the habitat to migrate. If you do too much construction, you kind of force out this animal herd. That is very, very much possible. One that I like to use instead is the hunting camp that has a little bit larger footprint, but it is also free. And placing that, we can see we're getting some migration. And we'll just continue to do this until we're happy with where the herd actually ends up. Now right here would be okay, except it kind of blocks off this area that's outside the trees. I think we're going to want to continue to let them migrate, and we'll just work. I'm trying to get them down to the far corner. And just like that, that's perfect. Far enough out of the way that they will be able to, yeah, they'll be undisturbed out here. And I'll go ahead and I'll put that, that hunting camp right on top. And then I'll go through and let's demolish some of these other hunting camps we created. We don't want our villagers to start working those, since it will take time away from some of our other construction priorities. So we have our animal herd that has migrated. We will actually see them move once we unpause. There's some animals up in the trees here. Kind of hard to see right now. They're hiding back here somewhere. They will migrate as we resume. Head over to that far corner of the map, which I am more than happy with, freeing up our middle area. Okay, so we demolished the additional buildings, and I think we are ready to start our construction in earnest to get our village going. So our first priority is going to get this logging camp down, since that is going to be the bottleneck for any future development. We want to make sure we've got logs coming in a constant supply, and we also want to make sure that we keep room for future development. Now, I can put the logging camp kind of anywhere I want, and I might do it over this way, I might do it over here. I do think we're going to want to log out this area, but I think we would have a long-term logging region right here where we'll have a forester that's planting new trees, and the loggers just kind of working in the back here. I think that would be just about perfect. Oh, you can place it freely. Just click and drag to actually get that going. You just click and place, and that's how you'll actually put the building in. You can demolish it. It doesn't cost anything right now, and you will receive the 2 logs back when you go ahead and try and either demolish it in the future, or you can relocate it for free. Before I get into that, I do want to draw kind of a guide road that I think will be important. We'll bring it along here. And kind of following some of the natural area that we'll be working around, tying into that corner. And we'll extend this road, continue it down past the stone, and around to this area where we will actually cut right across by that hunting camp, and we'll put this as kind of just a hunting road, maybe a logging road through that hunting region, so that it'll be quick access in and out. So we have our hunting camp that's under construction. We have our logging camp ready to go up here. Let's extend this road a little bit into the forest areas. And it would make sense they'd want to have, you know, some logging roads as we get into the back here. Give a little bit easier access for the logging activities. And we're going to uproot a few trees as we get in there. I think we'll just have to be okay with that. We'll pull one. I know for a fact we are going to want another hitching post, which we will put in here. Good access back there for our logging. And we're going to want a storehouse to store some of the materials that are coming in. Now, I also know I'm probably going to put in a woodcutter's lodge in the corner here. We'll put the storehouse on this road as it heads in towards what should be our main village on the closer side. One other aspect we want to make sure we're constructing, we want that fisherman's hut. And I think it would make sense. The fisherman's hut would be tucked back here, right along the edge of the woods, right? And some of this is going to get logged out, but they'll be accessible here at least. Go ahead and just kind of border this pond, more or less, and just feeling out where the inner edge of our fishing area would be, and connect across with a few kind of access roads. That'll be great. And we are going to want our granary right next to it, I think. Makes the most sense to be really close. And for our residential, we need one log. So we're going to go ahead and set the highest priority on our logging camp. We'll set a very high priority on the granary. Storehouse will be medium. And I'll also set a very high, or highest on the hitching post, so we can get our second ox in. So, starting construction there. And we have kind of an area here that I think would make pretty much a perfect spot for a marketplace. We can put market stalls in there. Also, probably we would throw in a shrine or two. Just something to break up the space on this far edge. I'll set that as lowest priority, just since it's going to be purely cosmetic, and also it'll help us understand once the rest of the construction activities are done. We can build a road around that, and yeah. Just manage a few of these, and accidentally grab the wrong road segment there. Oops. Okay, we got a new message. We'll go ahead and finish out that road here. What have we got to say? So, this is from the Baron. I have heard of your renown. I only seek to defend my rights and my honor against those who would wrong me. I hope you will not judge me by the rumors and slanders that some may spread about me. Signed and sealed by my own seal, Hildebolt von Baronrud. Well, alright, we can write back, but the diplomacy options are still in early access here, and it's pretty limited. Not much we can do. We don't really have negotiation. Don't have any declaration. These are all very much, yeah, options that are being developed still. So we'll send that back. Let's go ahead and get back into our event and see what's going on with our folks. So we see the granary. We're going to set the fisherman's hut up to a high priority as well. While they're working on that, we're going to set the logistics. I know we can put a well somewhere close, probably right there. And we're going to assign 2 people to that logging camp. And I'm going to set their priority for their work area. Probably, we'll let them run wherever they want here. They'll kind of go on an expanding circle outward. And we can prioritize specific locations in the future. We've got our hitching post that's ready to go, so I'm going to order another ox. And I'm also going to relocate this one so it's out of our way, more or less. And if I can, just about fits in there, but not quite. That's a missed opportunity, maybe. We'll be fine, though. We can set them back here. Okay. And not quite constructing anything new. We've got our storehouse finished construction. We'll assign one person there, and what they're going to do is they're going to start bringing these supplies that they can fit back into the storehouse, and they are asking for a market stall. We'll set up our logistics, we'll get a marketplace going, and just right here, you see 23, 24, 26 stalls, and they're kind of nice and offset. I like that, being kind of a pond side or lakeside market area. It's wonderful. Okay, and they've got a common goods stall, and we see there's a granary. Let's get people assigned there as well. And one person, once they are, yeah, I think everything's constructed. So we'll go ahead and let them manage this. We see there is actually availability at the hunting camp. So we've got our granary, our storehouse both set up. We're going to let things run. It says we're running out of food, but that's going to be fixed very, very quickly thanks to our fish. See already that food. 15 bread, 5 fish, and climbing. One thing that we want to watch out for is each of these production buildings, they'll have a reserve. So for the fisherman's hut and for the hunting camp, we see right now the reserve fish per pond is 120. But if you look at that, we have almost 715 fish capacity here. I think 120 is way too low. We want to be about 2/3. So we're looking at nearly 750. If we went for like 500 fish, we would have a good reserve that if we have a drought and our pond shrinks unexpectedly, that can kill off a lot of fish. We don't want to do that. We'll set our reserve for 500 so we don't overfish it, and then they'll be able to replenish in the spring when they have their spawning seasons. Now, our homelessness, we're moving into April. That is a negative aspect on our approval rating, and we'll want to address that just as soon as we have enough timber to build out the burgage plots that we need to make this happen. Yes, we have our stable that should be coming in with our new oxen. See our little crossroads here. A good market stall, and we're going to be building some burgage plots. Now, you can go residential here, or you could just type the letter H, and that pops right into a burgage plot mode. So I can set a couple of stalls, a couple of burgage plots right across here. And it will kind of encroach in some of the areas there. We could go for 3. I could go for a 2 with kind of some weird backyard plots. If you're not happy with the size or shape, just finagle a little bit, right? No harm there. A couple of interesting shaped burgage plots, and I think that would make sense as we get up into the hillside, that they'd be a little bit more non-uniform. This will give us some expansion space to work with. We can also, if we wanted to occupy the area right here, plug in 1 or 2. But again, just paying attention to the future development plans. I think somebody living along the lake here would appreciate having that extra space in the back. A little bit more organic there. So those are our first 3, and we can continue that down here with another 3. And I like having these as individual plots rather than doubling up, just so that we can have additional burgage plots available. We can specialize these into artisans, and it would make sense kind of along this area to have a mixture as we get more down towards the roadway. It'll be fewer of the odd-sized burgage plots. Okay. So we're working there. For food, We still have some bread. We got a good amount of fish. And that's kind of a seasonal resource. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of our loggers, pull them out, and I'm going to have them start working at the hunting camp. And we'll also check the reserve here. Yep, so we'll thin the herd down to 10. We have an unlimited work area, and they'll head out there and start working on that. Everyone's assigned currently, which actually means we don't have any construction going on, and some of these burgage plots are going to need some help. I think what we'll do is, now that the supplies have been picked up, I will pull the person off of the storehouse and let them manage some of the other construction activities, get some burgage plots, and address this homelessness, because that is a big negative writing on our approval rating. And with 6 burgage plots ready to construct, we should be able to help solve the homelessness, clear up these homeless people's tents. And one other construction area, I know we're going to want a woodcutter's lodge. That will just be right here, probably. I know we are going to want a saw pit. I'll put the saw pit down first. And that woodcutter's lodge back here. I know my first development is going to be into the charcoal kiln. Make things a little bit more accessible. And actually, a woodcutter's lodge right here would be perfect. Let folks manage those. And just speeding up the time lapse to get things going a little bit more. We see plenty of fish now. Bread's being consumed. We've got some meat, so we should have good food variety at the marketplace. With the granary working hard. One note about the marketplace, we've got food variety, fuel, clothing. We can set an overstock, so workers will deliver extra resources as if they're supplying more burgage plots. If you have a long logistics time, it might make sense. I don't think there's really any penalty to going higher or lower. I'm going to set overstock at 5 and just see if that's going to give us what we need. We do see food variety here is a priority. Now, the first 5 burgage plots at level 1, those are going to be driving our initial growth. But we see that each burgage plot has some requirements. So you have to meet these requirements in order to level up, as well as having some materials. So to level 2, we have to meet those requirements. That's access to water and access to a church, as well as a fuel stall and a clothing stall that's going to have linen, leather, or yarn. So we have to build a well, we have to build a church, we have to make sure that we've got somebody working the storehouse, and yeah, managing through all that. So let's talk about the well. We can place it right next to the storehouse. I think that probably makes the most sense, being accessible for the initial developers. That will be a good option. Later on, we can probably place a well at like one of these crossroads, which would probably actually be a pretty perfect location for it. And yeah, there's plenty of space over here as well. So we have that going. And I think what we might have happen here is there could be a road at some point. I'll just build in a little road there so that we don't overdevelop our areas. We see we got 10 planks or 10 logs available. We can expand the living space for each of these burgage plots that have the doubles now. And that'll bring folks in. And I'm just very impressed with how good this looks to start off with. Part of the reason why I've really fallen in love with Manor Lords is because of the organic nature to that city builder. Oh, and we're going to pause this. One of the issues here is you're going to get stuff that gets stolen by the bandits. So this bandit camp over here, we're going to need to get them taken care of pretty quickly. As we see right now, we have market food variety at a +2. Homelessness, they're remembering from previous months, at a -4. We have 1 available living space with 3 under construction right now. So the homeless tents have gone away, which is great. Now, I do think these folks, they would want, maybe on this road, if we just continue this one down through the trees, they'd want also a direct access line into the King's Road, and we can develop around that. Okay. We have our burgage plots available. The well needs to be constructed, so let's go ahead and put that as a highest priority. Get somebody working on it. And we do see there's a saw pit, so I'm going to set the saw pit with some reserves. So we want to make sure we have 20 timber, and it's going to produce up to 60 planks. So as long as we got 20 available timber, it'll keep working. If we have less than 20, it will not produce anything. So we'll need to watch that. Holding tab, we can see we still need a firewood stall, we need some basic clothing, and we need a church. One of those areas we can address right now is that clothing area. Oh, and we've hit our first development point, getting level 1 with 5 burgage plots. We need to get 2 burgage plots up to level 2, so we'll work on updating that. But we also have a new message here. We got an armament delivery. So a strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived, and you will now be able to create your first militia banners to serve you and protect your people. However, we will need more weapons to equip all the people as settlement grows, either by making them or importing them from other lands. So we can form that militia, and I'll do that really quickly. And we see we got large shields and spears, so we're going to have a spear militia create. And now it only assigns the 10 people available, and we can go up to 20. We're going to let our settlement grow. We should start to see some good growth because we got good food variety at the marketplace. That's meat, bread, and fish. We're about to run out of bread, though, so that's going to be a concern as we proceed further on. So, good food variety there. The industry we wanted to work on was the tannery, but that's going to require some planks. And in order to get planks, we're going to need to make sure we got our saw pit. And I want to bring that down to 10. I don't think we have any other pending construction, so we'll go ahead and assign somebody over there. And honestly, we have enough fish to do, so I want to pull the person off the fishing and put them into the logging camp. And it's perfectly fine to micromanage. Expect to micromanage things for the first year. Let me see, we don't have anybody working the firewood stall. We still have 18 months of food, 4 months of fuel. Now, the developments we're going to be looking at. You're going to have a maximum of 6 that you can spend on each specific region. Now, I know eventually I want the deep mining perk, and right off the bat, I want to be as efficient as I can with my logging industry, so I can go for the charcoal kiln and ease my restrictions there. Couple other areas that I might look at developing. Having the advanced pond keeping doubles the shoal of fish capacity and allows year-round fishing. That wouldn't be bad at all. We would have trapping that allows hunters to lay traps and gives passive meat. You can also have advanced skinning, which doubles the meat. We don't really have a great way to exploit that right now. I think it's going to be a better synergy with our farming region. Now you can also have pelt extraction, so hides from traps. Those are good options, and maybe along with the farming. But I know for a fact, having the sheep breeding with this advanced skinning perk, that's a great source of food as well. For now, we're going to go commit to the charcoal burning, since I know eventually we're going to want the deep mining, and this will help us be more efficient right out the gate. So I'll commit to that. And then we'll go ahead and we'll set up our charcoal kiln right on the corner here. Yeah. We got our woodcutter's lodge that will supply in for our firewood that the charcoal will require. Okay. We have 5 people working. No unassigned families. We're waiting because that food variety's gone down a little bit. We're early July. We shouldn't have homelessness. We should have a little bit of food variety. Our bread's running out, but the meat is doing well. Plenty of fish. And as we start getting logs sawn into planks. All right, we see them being delivered here. We see, you can see what people are being assigned here. We see we got crafting, transporting, just like that. We got 5 planks, almost enough to get our first couple of industry perks. So I'm going to set the tannery right next to the hunting camp. And what I'll end up doing is I'll have the hunter. They got 9 hides that are being produced right now. Those should go right into the tannery and produce leather. I'm also going to do a little bit of advanced management on the storehouse. On the storehouses and granaries, you can turn off any supplies you don't want to collect there. So, for instance, I don't want to take hides, right? I want all of the hides that are available here to go right into the tannery. And if I get additional hides that exceed the capacity of our hunter's camp, that'll pop up an alert, which will be our cue to come over and assign our hunter from here, the generic storage with his 10 hides. They will go in here. Now, we just heard a ding. Wonderful news. We have a new villager who has just joined. So we'll let them update. We have not worked with any of the backyard extensions yet. And that's because I've got a couple of options I would like to get after. First, chicken coops are going to provide a passive yield of eggs. That's another supply of food, but it's going to cost us 15 of our regional wealth and 2 planks. We also have a vegetable garden, which is just 15 regional wealth. I'm going to start off with a chicken coop and go for that right off the bat. That's a great variety of passive food, and so we should be able to manage that. We need more regional wealth to develop the rest of it, but that is going to be a good option. Let's take a look at our residential, and I want to build out a farming burgage plot. Somebody that's got a really great garden, right? And not take up too much of our logging area. But this seems like an interesting little area if we were to come across here. Leave enough space on this side to be able to expand out to. And we got a couple of trees being felled there. I'll go ahead and commit this construction. And that's going to make a nice vegetable garden with a large backyard plot. In addition, oh, we have another bandit camp, so we'll go address that shortly. We will have a forager's hut and the forester's hut, not the foragers. The foresters next spring are going to go out and they're going to plant a bunch of new trees where we have just taken down all of the existing ones. So we'll set them on this side of the road and let them kind of manage there. We now have our second family member, and we see a bandit camp was sighted. They're off, yeah, kind of on the far side, so we'll be able to probably fight both. We're at 7 families, 14 strength. I don't want to get too aggressive. I think we need to get to 16, at least, maybe 18, as long as we can proceed without much undue influence. I'm going to put 1 family on our woodcutter's lodge. The forester's hut is complete. That'll be fine. You have an unlimited work area for that, which makes sense. And then we have here this burgage plot, and I'm going to commit a vegetable garden to it. As soon as we have somebody who moves in there, they'll be able to work that vegetable garden right on the edge of our forestry area. Okay. With 3 available living spaces now. And we leave this central area open for some additional developments. And we're going to want to build in some additional burgage plots with the farm extensions with that vegetable plot to be able to make things happen a little quicker. I do also want to upgrade both of our small stables. We want to get that prepared for. And we see a new family started moving in. So we're up to 8 families. And 16 of our militia are occupied. We'll keep going. Keep going. We do have fuel via firewood that is coming in. That's extending out our current fuel supply. And I'll assign one person to the charcoal kiln to keep working that. See both of our stables here. And we're just kind of putting out... Oh, no. Bandits have stolen firewood and meat. That is just rough. I think we need to take care of them. So, the next time we get... If we get to 18, I know the bandits are going to have a strength of 18. We'll just go right after them. There's no construction work that needs to be done right now. Everything is currently built, so I'm going to put somebody back on the fisherman's hut. Build up our supply of fish. Our meat back here, we're down to... well, we got a little bit of space. So we'll do that, let them hunt down a couple additional animals. We do see that hides are putting that a little high. Winter is approaching, so we got to make sure our fuel situation is good. And we're doing great. 36 firewood. It's being converted to charcoal pretty quickly. And we see this generic storage is full. That's from our logging camp. We got a new family moving in. 17. And a family member joined, so we have 18 militia. Let's rally them. Right here in the crossroads. Okay. And let's prepare for battle. So, as we have our militia selected here, we see they have a strength level. So there are 18 as far as overall numbers. They have attack of 1, armor of 5, charge of 0. They have anti-armor of 0, shield of 8, and impaling with 10. So they can be pretty effective there, nice and heavily shielded. We have a couple of formation options, so we can have them give ground, pushes the line backwards, luring enemies to follow. We can put them on missile alert. If they're coming against archers, it will double their ranged defenses, but at the cost of melee defense. We can have them be balanced. It's the default with no bonuses and no penalties. We can have them stand their ground, which means their defense is doubled, but their attack frequency is cut in half. We can also have them push forward with their full force as long as they're not exhausted. You should be good. Now, we can have them disbanded as long as they're within their home region. We don't want to do that. We just formed them up to fight. Mercenaries you can disband at any point in any region, but for militia, they need to be back in their home region to do that. We can select whether we want them to run to the positions or not. You can cover more ground at the cost of fatigue. I don't want these guys fatigued at all. I don't mind taking a little bit of time, getting in there well rested to fight the bandits, because I don't want to lose anybody. Although it's gonna be tough. And then you can tell them to hold, which will stop their movement and reform the formation. So when you are trying to form them up, right click and drag will create this line, and they'll be facing that direction. And they will try and make that formation happen. And of course you can have them just in a single line. That's the formation I like to use most. But if you have a situation where you wanted to flank an enemy, you could do something like that and let them just, kind of take things as they go. We'll set them to go there. We also, with them selected, if you hit Control 1, now you have them set as a control group. So anytime, you see the little 1 right there, anytime you want a quick hotkey into controlling them, you just have to type the number 1, and they are ready to go. Now, while we're looking here, we have 1 available living space. Just checking on the village before we leave. 1 available living space, so by the end of the next month, we will need to have somebody with a new place to live. But we'll manage that as we get there. So let's go ahead and we're going to move them up this direction. And I think we want to fight on this hillside. So we'll get them set and just unpause. Double clicking on them will show their movement. We'll just speed up since we don't want to have to wait as they walk across country. And we'll see their fatigue moving downhill. All of that kind of combining for their overall effectiveness. And one thing I want to do, because we're highly armored, I'm going to stand our ground to double our defenses. Make sure that we are capable of that, really out-armoring them. They've got an armor of 4, shield of 2, compared to armor of 5, shield 8. We will be really heavily armored, and attack 2, attack 1, impaling versus their charge. They've got 2 and 2, we've got 1 and 10. Let's go ahead and we are going to be kind of fighting downhill. And we see effectiveness, our power balance, looking really good. And we can watch as the battle begins. So, a few of their numbers already falling back. Yeah. They have the low grounds, they're less effective. We have the high grounds, we're a lot more effective. That is good, working for us. They started at 18, they're already down to 16. We'll just watch as this battle plays out. 14-13. Let me watch. Oh, that is just vicious over here. Okay, finish that one off. We're down to 17 to their 12. We've lost one person. 976 and broken. It cost us one villager, unfortunately, but once they get to a minimum number, the rest turn tail and run. So, now that the battle's over, we're going to head into the bandit camp, and we're going to take the spoils of war. These are supplies the bandits have left behind, and honestly, we've got some things we could spend that on. My regional wealth for Lanik is at 0. We did gain influence there, 360 for completing that battle. But we didn't get any treasury. We'll have to decide what the spoils of war go to. And with 17 of our fighters still up, I think we'll be good. Recent losses are affecting them. So now we've reached the bandit camp, and we get our choice, the spoils of war. When searching through the enemy belongings, you find a stash of goods. They could be sent to your people who surely need them, though it's your right to keep it. So you can send those resources, that's going to be just gold, to the nearest town, and that will help with the regional wealth, or you could send it to your treasury. I'm going to send this to the nearest town because I know we have things we could spend that on. That would be highly effective, and we've got 170 regional wealth gained. Just looking through some of those. That's awesome. Now, we have another battle to fight, and I'm going to try and set my guys up here. We're at 17, which should be an okay match against the other brigands as long as we have our stand your ground configured. We'll try and see. We might get close enough to draw them out. Otherwise, yeah. And we see we got regional wealth gained. An additional regional wealth there. We want to draw them out here, up the hill. Be fighting against us here. Kind of in the field. 17 versus their 18. And standing our ground. Effectiveness. We've got some good experience. Good cohesion. And we see as these brigands come over, taunting them. Yeah, that's right. We got an army power balance that looks like we're doing really well. Let's see though. Our 17 versus their 18 will need to hold off, and they charge in. Pretty brutal battle going on here. Now, we have the high ground, which gives us a 50% effectiveness improvement versus their low ground. Oh, I love it. So, the arrows kind of indicate our effectiveness numbers. We are highly defensive, with the stand your ground. I like that stance since we don't want to lose any more villagers than we have to. It is going to take a little bit longer. Already paying off. 2 of theirs are down. 4 now. 13, 12. 11. Yeah, some vicious kills there. 9. Oh, another 8. 7, and they are broken. Didn't lose anybody that round. That was excellent. So we'll go ahead and we will ransack their camp. But look at that. Great amount of experience. They did have 1 loss in the first battle, but you know what? Pulled things off. We can, now that there's no other bandit camps out here, we can have them run to their positions, but I'm going to hold off on that, just in case we have something pop up before they get there, back into town. Let's see, we're still in November. We got the message. So when searching through the spoils, you find a stash of goods. I'm going to send this to my treasury because I want to start building up a treasury to spend on militia units and things of that nature. So I'm going to send it to my treasury unit. We see we got 112 into the treasury. That's halfway, more or less, to getting ourselves set with the next village expansion. Now, I'm not going to expand just yet. We can do, now that we have this, we got 35 timber, 64 planks. Doing really good there. How are we doing on fuel? 14 months and 9 months of food. So, good options. Let's go ahead and we're going to expand these into our chicken coops. For anything that we're not going to use as an artisan plot, chicken coop is going to be the way to go. We'll have meat from other regions. And of course, we see the sad villagers here who have lost their loved ones. We're going to go ahead and start constructing a few burgage plots here. Back along this main road. Bringing them. And I think, yeah, 4 kind of in that row. That'll be good. And set up kind of a block of developments there. In addition, I think it's time we build the church. And there's this little spot up here, right on the edge of the lake. If I could get it in there without demolishing that tree, that would be great. Although I think it is going to be... Oh, if we do right there, that'll be wonderful. Okay. And we'll bring this up and along. And just create some space around there. So villagers will be able to go up to that church at the top. We also know they want to have firewood, so we'll get somebody working on the storehouse once we need it. Firewood and charcoal are good, so I'm going to pull 1 person off the woodcutter's lodge. The charcoal is going to keep us sustained for a while. We have, we'll need 1 person in the storehouse. And let's go ahead and let's put 1 extra person in the tannery. To be able to start producing some of those. We've got hides, we need to produce leather. And that will meet our level 1 requirements. And we'll set this as the highest priority. It should be the only construction we're doing right now. And I'll pull 1 person off the logging camp to be able to do that. Okay, we see our militia. They have not gotten back into town yet. We got a new family moving in. So awesome. We'll have 2 people ready to go. They will be able to start working this vegetable garden, which will be exciting. We can also expand that living space by a 1. Make sure we've got 2 families working there. As you can see, very nice organic development as we work through the first winter in the High Peaks. show church constructing on the top. And disband that militia. Generic storage here is full. That's fine. Let's go watch this church as they are. Yeah, we're gonna set this as the very lowest, just so it'll get the supplies delivered there, but they won't actually start processing it yet. We want to see all the supplies there first, and that way it'll go clear in one clean shot. Meanwhile, we had a chicken coop. Let's go ahead and get more chicken coops assigned, spend some of that regional wealth, and get more eggs ready to go. Probably one of our key food varieties here, along with the vegetables. So we see no eggs yet, but it's a passive supply. Okay. And I'll just pin that wooden church in the top. Once we know all the goods have been transported, then we'll be smooth sailing. We'll also go ahead and set up a stonecutter camp, which should be able to address this deposit, get that at least processed and out of the way. Okay. Got new family members joining. All good. Make sure those supplies come in. 15 months of fuel, 8 months of food. Okay, we've got a new burgage plot ready to go. Some additional ones that are being constructed. We'll go put that chicken coop in the back there. As long as that completes, should be good. The storage is full at the hunting camp. Let's see what they are full of. All right. They have hides and carcasses that are being processed. Okay. All good. The medium burgage plot. We'll set this as highest priority. Get that done. Oh, it might lock us out of that new villager because it's under construction. Little note to self there in the future. So, yeah, because it was under construction at the end of the month, we didn't get that new villager that wanted to occupy that space. Bummer. Get the additional spaces as well. That's ready to go. So we have one. We get a chicken coop in there on the next one. Just ready to go. Okay, none of the transported goods are there yet. We'll set the chicken coop here on each of the new ones. And we see 19 timber, 49 planks. And we do have the option for the manor, but we need stone first. That is unfortunate, but we will be getting our stonecutters camp ready to go here momentarily. Okay, burgage plots are all finished. Set the stonecutters camp as a high priority. Plenty of available space. And we see they're delivering the timber. We got planks and stone that are being worked. And all of our burgage plots are ready to go. They have all the needs here not met yet because they don't have anybody living there. So once somebody lives there, it'll start generating or attributing those resources. We see they just need the church level now to start upgrading those to level 2. And that church is going. We'll need the stone ready to go, and we have another family that moved in, it looks like. Stonecutter's camp is ready to go. We'll get somebody working that. 220 stone to exploit. And we'll get the rest of the resources delivered. It is important as you are working on constructing that you don't have too much construction activity going on. Since you're going to overload your livestock. Now, why did we only have one? I thought we had ordered an oxen to start. It might have been that they didn't have a space available when it arrived. We have 4 available stable space, and we can only get 1 oxen every 25 days or so, or every 30 days. So let's go ahead and watch this church being built. Quite scenic. And a little fence around there. Wonderful. I will say the music here, fantastic choices that really pull you into the feel. And there we go. Our church is ready to go. We have a few messages. First, raiders near. We receive reports of a band of raiders roaming the nearby lands. Should we track their steps? We will track their movements. Alright. We saw a bandit camp and another ruler's army was sighted. They're up here. We can probably beat them if we run a little bit. And it's important that we address these bandit camps ourselves, because the more fights that the Baron gets into, the more influence he's going to gain. And sadly, that's going to be a real problem for us. So, let's go ahead and we're going to set a couple of these buildings to upgrade. I want level 2s. I think here, our first one's back this direction. They probably, you know, we'll be able to get them set up. We'll just assign 2 of them, since that's all we need for the next level in our settlement. Get the construction started on them, and we'll also assign some folks into its march. So we'll put 2 people into the forester's hut. Let them manage. Well, right now, we've got a militia of 19 strength. I think that's about as many as we would need with the current recruits. So let's go ahead, rally them. And yeah, all 19 strength. Have them run up to this hillside, basically. Okay. And watching where the Baron is at with his army. Kind of time warp a little bit. We're definitely off frame comparatively. But now we're much closer. Turn that off, and we'll just try and draw them out. So we've drawn them to us. Don't have time to manage this fight. hopefully the Baron won't be able to sneak in and steal the supplies behind us. We're on standard ground still. Our 19 versus their 18. We don't get the high ground benefit here, but already I can see we're decently balanced. Guys going at it in the middle. Already down 2. 3. Keep falling. 4. Alright, alright. 8. Yeah, we'll break them pretty quickly. 19 down to 9. I love it. Alright. Let's go ahead and let's make sure we're the ones that ransack this bandit camp. And I'll let my guys run to do that. Just beating the Baron. Yeah, he's going back home. Perfect. Save my stamina. Alright. Good effectiveness. Well done, well done. And just looking at what we need, we got regional wealth of 185. We can manage with that. I think we're going to want to send it to our treasury, be ready for expansion, and maybe, you know, we've got raiders about a year away. Maybe at least hold that out. See how many bandits we have to deal with between. But I'm going to send this to my treasury now. Let's go do that. Hey, 105. So, not all of it we need, but we do have influence that we'll be able to spend and claim regions. Now, I can tell right now, I have this region with clay and salt. That is a really good long-term option. And this region here with wild berries and fertile land. I gotta say, the fertile land sounds really tempting since it will be a great supply of food. And for our tier 3, level 3 burgage plots, I'm gonna get ale. We'll look at that, see what the expansion options are. We can claim without settling, and I think that's what we may start off with. So we see we got one of our buildings, one of our burgage plots already up to level 2. We've got stone coming in, 69 stone there, nice. So we look at the administration and we can build our manor. And our settlement level has increased, way to go. So we have a couple of options. We can commit that now for the deep mining if we would like, or we could look at some other options. I know deep mining is going to be a thing. I know that trade in this region is going to be a thing, and we could do trade logistics, so new trade routes has halved. Better deals, which is also great for importing from foreign territories. Those might be what we focus on to start, although we only have 6 points to spend. And I know one of them we want advanced pawn keeping, maybe orchardry to get some food variety. And because we're not dealing with trade right now, I think it would make the most sense. Let's get a couple apple orchards in and let those develop, because it does take 3 to 4 years to fully mature. And I think it's a good option for some orchards. So we've got that. As far as our living spaces, right? We've got 3 available living spaces and some extra going there. Now, I don't want to put an orchard right here. I think that would be just a little overkill. I think up this direction would make the most sense, and kind of border this side of our living area. Let's go take a look if there's anywhere we can place a well, and we can go right here. And now that these guys are back home, we'll disband that. So, I'm going to take and build a road right down here. We'll kind of divide this region more or less in, you know, kind of half. And we'll work on getting a couple of burgage plots here, but I want a couple really large orchards. I think having them further from the road, or maybe like even bordering up to the road. If we're going to put one orchard, might make sense to have it here. And I'll draw a bounding road. Just something to divide the area. Connect it across right there. And, oh man, I'm very excited about that. What we would like to do now, I want to set up burgage plots. I want to make sure there's space along the roadway for, you know, individual plots that'll each have a backyard extension. And that's more or less the amount that we'd need. Each one of these we can see doing singles or doubles. With the well there, it kind of drives things a little crazy. You can turn off snapping to alleviate some of this issue, but realistically, yeah, that's about, went a little deeper. If I go halfway through here and commit that with, we'll go down to just a single and keep that as a placeholder. Make sure it's got enough depth for the backyard extensions. So we'll have some roadway. I'm going to commit that as a single. We'll have a double wide burgage plot right in the center. That's going to be our orchard home. And we saw that snapping point here. Up to this point is okay. I might even go right here. Try and get 3. Right. Leave that space available. An oddly shaped plot indeed, but you know, we can look at rotating that if it makes better sense to go anywhere else. I mean, that is just a strange. But here, yeah, I think that's okay. Bring it maybe a little further back. Nah, no real point there. That's wonderful. All right, we go just like that. Okay, and I'm gonna pause this one. I'm gonna pause this one, make sure we're not committing anything there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and create our first orchard, and it's going to have a gigantic backyard plot. Thanks to all the snapping that's gonna be happening on these roads. Now, I could do 2 burgage plots, each with a very large setup, or I could do 1 single, and I think we're gonna have 1 big orchard. I like that. And I'll set that as the highest priority. We'll have 2 families working that. It will be a pretty big push in September when that goes along, but at least now we're gonna have a few options, and I can demolish each of these sides. We know there's space for those burgage plots, and involve some of that snapping in the future. So, 1 big orchard coming up. Highest priority. And we'll look at the manor as well. I know that when we get to it, we're going to want to have a granary right next to, and we can have it either over here, probably a little bit closer towards town. Maybe on one of these side roads, or just facing the road directly. Or, you know, maybe tuck back a little bit, let some other things happen. I know we might look at doing an apiary, because the fish situation is going to be great. An apiary with an additional source of food. I always like having them right next to our orchards. So, that's a priority. We need 5 now level 2 burgage plots, and I think we'll be able to get that. I can go here, upgrade that, so that's 3, 4, and 5. So we should have all of those. We've got 1, 2, and 3 being upgraded. Let's talk about where we want the manor. That will be next up for us, to keep our villagers happy, and while they are working on some of the other. I always like having the manor somewhere strategic, right? If you want it to be centralized next to our industry, right? And maybe a little bit of extra space off of it. I do like having it kind of on a more of a forested area, but not too aggressive. A little bit off the road. Couple options there. We could put it here, kind of in the center, and that might help break things up a little bit. Although I'll say that something up here, maybe up on the very top of the hillside, it could work either way. Here we see we got this burgage plot constructed, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna commit the apple orchard there, spending 50 of our regional wealth on that. And we could have an additional orchard that borders the other side, setting out just similar to how we did here. But yeah, nobody living there just yet. But with the orchard, the trees are in. That's going to be great. We see the one pathway through the center.
Is this smooth enough?
Should be great. I'm excited about that. I think it would make the most sense that the manor would want to help protect this iron ore deposit. It is a key resource that we would like to exploit. And looking where people are coming in and out from the map, the manor would be right here. I'm going to do this tree that hopefully we'll be able to grow and develop in the future. We'll use that as part of our manor complex grounds. So we'll go ahead, I can commit that. You can add additional buildings, so like walls and gates, outer towers. You have a garrison tower that increases your retinue size. And you know what? That's an impressive addition, but it does cost us some additional logs. So we want to just cancel that out. You can, if you place it and you don't want it, just Alt and left click. Or you can click and drag on this circle to rotate it if you don't like the way it's oriented. I would like to eventually have it, but right now we just don't have the supplies. So I'll commit the manor to this location here. We'll have our trade and other stuff kind of nearby, but the manor itself, it'll border and help protect this iron deposit. Since I know that's a long-term strategic resource, we're going to want to keep hold of for ourselves. Speaking of, let's go ahead and we can set up a mining pit, and I think we may actually be able to get 2 on here. And if we have a crossroad that runs between from one side to the other, it would make sense to align that on there. Okay. Bridging kind of the 2 areas of the map, and I think they probably add a little curvature there, mirroring the road outside. Let's get the mines set up, one and the other. And some trees uprooted. That's all right. That's all right. Let's clear the road here. We're gonna get that second mine right next to this one, as close as they can get, and then we'll build the road. Waste not, want not. Alright, and we will also have some bloomeries. I think we're going to need multiples, though. Knowing how these work, they are pretty resource intensive. With both going at full speed. Alright, we'll set up right here. We'll do 2 there. We'll set 1 and 2 here. Just tuck in that corner. Perfect. I'll actually come a little further here if we can rotate it around the outside. And there we go. Kind of creates some space if we wanted to get some separation. Rear access for those mines, but really making this all kind of an industrial park type.
And we'll continue that roadway as it is. So just preparing for a large industrial zone. We know... Alright, what are we looking at? We've got a well that's constructed. Okay, perfect. Able to manage a few folks on the orchards. And we see we're at 3, 4, and 5. That should get us to the next development point. I know a few things. First is that there will be a royal granary on the premises at the manor that will be close to the supplies here. Now, I want to maybe keep this... I'm trying to preserve the tree as best I can. Oh, that's a bummer. Now, we can assign our foresters to put some trees in here. Unfortunately, the footprint just did not work. Okay, so that will be our granary in the royal market area. Can increase or decrease the curvature. It doesn't really matter there since the snapping is all happening there. So we would have the royal granary. We would also have a royal storehouse on the opposite side. Something that the lord of the manor would want very close to the industrial side. Now we can go up this direction. Alright, if we see the snapping happening there. Okay, that'll be great. We could have additional storehouse spaces back here. Not enough goods, that's fine. We have a lot of construction we just queued them up with, so we'll manage that. And meanwhile, no timber, so we'll let them just work their way through. We have 9 months of food, 13 months of fuel. Keep working that charcoal kiln. I will reassign you to our woodcutter's lodge. And let's put the foresters. I would like you all to plant some trees around the manor. And we'll just, yeah, they'll start working this area. Bringing some trees in, I think, you know, they'd want our royal gardener of sorts. Residential burgage plots, just looking at what we would have available here. Might be 1 or 2 spaces available for like a blacksmith. Just behind the stores. Yeah, that could work. We go from this side instead. Looking at what that's available. Yeah, you know what? That would be an okay blacksmith shop. We know the bloomeries are going to be a big deal. We want this storehouse right next to these bloomeries so that we can have all of our industrial stuff right in the same complex, and then they're all gonna be together because I will put some I'll put some fences around everything, fence it all in one big complex. Okay, great for food, great for fuel, and we are just constructing our manor complex now. Checking some of our key resources. We see working hard at planting saplings there. It might overdo it a little bit, but we can come in and be strategic about some trees we want to take out. Just pave a road right through them. Well, like, you know, York, he's working his best. Planting and planting. Let's go ahead and seeing where he's got some priority. Let's put him over this way now. Just a great way to get some natural look here. We've got our construction pit finished. I want to put one person on there. The bloomery is finished, but we're gonna let that build up a little more. And just about finished with our next step. A lot of construction going on here, so. And another bloomery is finished. With the deep mine perk, we should be able to get both of these mines going indefinitely. And with the bloomeries, it's going to be just about balancing our output from the mining pit versus what our bloomeries can actually refine, turn into iron slabs, and then we'll have some blacksmiths, a smithy, those types are good to go. Now we see they are going crazy with the trees now, looking for a place to plant. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear that work area, and they'll just go back to whatever's closest in proximity to our work here. Now I'm going to set the work area for our loggers now to kind of take the tree area back here and clear that out. We have our royal granary that is good to go. We'll assign a family there. Okay. And they are working on the manor now. Goods are almost transported. We'll just take a look at the marketplace. Storehouse capacity is low. We need somebody else at the storehouse. So I'll go ahead. I'll put one more family in there. And we probably do need to upgrade those to a larger storehouse. And the manor is complete, and we see we've got a villager moving in back there. Okay, perfect. So we also just had somebody move in on our first orchard. They'll be able to work this field and get us a huge surplus of apples every fall. We will probably set up another guide road back here once we get a few things out of the way first. So, with the manor constructed, we are watching, we've got iron ore going, we got space to be able to get the iron slabs started. We'll bring that in. We did assign one more person to the marketplace. Our granary is going to be a little lacking. Now, we have one more burgage plot that's waiting on construction to finish. It's, what's going on back here? A little confusion with the cow. That's unfortunate. It's maybe something we have to exit the game, load back in, see if we can get that resolved. Let's go ahead and make sure we got another ox coming in, since that one is confused. Yeah. Every now and then, it helps to just exit the game, reload, save. We'll set up another burgage plot for our next level and see if that can't get our ox here in a little bit happier places. Never seen him get stuck like that. Alright. Confused ox. Hang tight, we'll be right back. Alright. We are back. Let's go ahead and see. So we know we got the construction happening back here. That did resolve our oxen issue. We see they're starting, and we have our development increased. Now, The next settlement level, small town, we need to get level 3 burgage plots, and that's going to require a lot more trade. If we see some of these level 2 burgage plots, the visuals on them, they're a little bit nicer. But we see they have some other requirements, right? They want access to a tavern, so a regular tavern with some ale, and they need a stone church or better. As well, they want some additional clothing, but that's specifically for shoes, clothes, and cloaks. These are finished goods that they're going to want and need in this region in order to be happy. Now, we don't have a tavern. We don't have a way to get ale, even. And that's going to be a big problem for us. I think that's going to drive the demand to expand into a new region here, a farming specific region. But that's going to be a good point for another day. Let's get everything else we need to do set up on our initial settlement, and confirming we've got timber, planks. For this church, we need clay roof tiles. So we are going to have to go in and exploit this clay deposit. There's only 50 in there, but that's going to require a few things. We're going to need a mine that we can place on there with some additional planks, and that should be there. Let's go ahead and let's get set up for another orchard plot, and similar to last time, I'm going to just draw out a bounding road, and I like to be able to keep some of this natural area here more or less untouched, and I'll go about right there. I think that's good. We'll look at what the burgage plots here, how many we can fit, what size. Yeah, so if we did 3, oh, I love that right there. Even if we did that, well, 3, good space in between each. I'm gonna go ahead and commit that for now. I'm gonna delete the one in the middle. Okay, demolish that one before it's built, and I'm going to expand this central, all these snapping points, to get that double-sized burgage plot with a huge orchard in back there, and of course the road in between. We'll demolish these buildings up front. We know there's space for them. I'll set that as the very highest priority. I will also expand the living space here. Let some of those things happen. And I know that we're probably going to want to have a couple of burgage plots right here, level 2, that have the backyard extension so that these can be blacksmiths, artisans. We'd actually probably have them over here. The Lord of the Manor would not be happy having to share his perfect space here with everybody, and managing so we can have some space around there for a wall. We can get up to 5. No, yeah, that's a little unusually sized. We'll go with those 4 right here next to the work, kind of work area and the storehouse. And we see we're at 33 iron ore. No iron slabs yet. And just managing that construction. Okay, 6 living spaces being constructed. And the priority here is going to be this orchard area to get some apples going. We'll have 2 big, beautiful orchards. Good supply of food. We see a burgage plot, level 2 finished. So where do we want our development points at now? We do have the deep mine. That can probably be the last thing we assign, since we're going to have that. I know trade logistics is going to be a problem right now. We can get a new trade route that kind of the costs are cut in half. I think this is exactly where we're going to want to spend some points right now. With the deep mining, if we do trade and better deals, that leaves us 1 free point, which we could either put onto the advanced pond keeping and just have a really great supply of fish, or we could go into like an apiary, which gives us honey and another great source of food. We'll probably wait on this one as the last. I think trade logistics is where we're going to focus right now, and that's going to require a trading post. We'll assign that to the road here. We'll make sure that's snapped to grid. And right across from the manor seems like a great place to put it. Okay. So we'll get that trade post set up, and I'll put a livestock trading post right next to it. Probably just on the opposite side of the roadway. Okay, the Woodcutter's Lodge storage is full. I'm going to take these folks, assign them over to the charcoal kiln now. Get them. We got 126 firewood, 95 charcoal. Great. Okay, we got a new family moving in, helping with the orchard. We now have this ready to go. That is August 4th. Let's go ahead and we're going to put the orchard in. And just like that. Should see some trees start coming in that way. Yeah, orchard is set. And yeah, they're loading in. That's going to be beautiful, right? 2 big orchards. If only there was a way to make cider, right? And the trees are going to grow. We'll see folks that'll be harvesting these throughout the year. Now, one thing that's going to be crucial here is I think they're going to want to have a granary out this way as well. And we can have one right next to that. I think kind of in between the two. I would be more inclined to tuck it right here. And then we can have an apiary if we end up getting that. Or just, you know, let it manage. But have it be maybe even on the closer side towards town. Right about there. Yeah. Just either tuck it back or be right here. Right there will be fine, so that when we start getting these burgage plots built out, you know, we'll put it between the two. That seems like a better strategic point. Right here. And let them manage. We'll have the well, providing well water here. And we've got space for another family moving here. A bandit camp was sighted, as well as another ruler's army. So the Baron is going to try and beat us to this one again. Realistically, yeah, we can do just fine. Let's get our... We've got our retinue, as well as our spear militia. Let's go ahead and get our spear militia ready to go. Okay. And for some reason, we only have 18 or so. They're not too far off, so we could potentially line them up in our orchard here. We're fighting on our home region. We'll get some perks there. I'm going to turn off the running. But let these gentlemen manage our fighting here. Make sure they are on stand your ground.
Yes, sire. Forward. Yes, sire. Forward.
Okay. Got our trading posts and our livestock trading posts that are done. We see those brigands are coming at us on our own territory as well. I think what we're going to do, we'll just line up in formation here. Be ready to meet the charge head on. Okay. Our 18 to their 18. And we're in home region. We've got the experience benefits. Doing great work here. Down to their 15, 14, 13, all right, 12, 10, 9, and they are broken. That is awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and ransack the camp.
Advance!
Now, we have a retinue that we could have sent to do that, but yeah, we need to work through that. We know right now this logging area is kind of getting depleted. They're working through all the logs this side, trying to clear that up. And that's going to help with our construction needs. We're going to want another source of timber and planks. So putting in a new area there. Maybe over in this corner. Starting to do logging area in here. To keep things supplied and producing. We see we've got burgage plots here that are in need of residents. We see we got this resident here, both looking great. Great. I'm going to expand this living space first, and then we'll upgrade here. Make sure that gets a level 2. The granary, we're going to have this granary devoted to exclusively apples, and it should be able to pull from both the pantries here. New message. So we got the spoils of war. When searching through the enemy belongings, you'll find a stash of goods. We can send them to the town, or we can send it to our treasury. I probably want to keep it in our treasury. The town is okay for wealth right now, and we're about to start trade, but the one thing we won't be able to do is increase our treasury. So just like that, 133 back to the treasury. And we're now at 350, and we got 1600 influence. We are more or less locking the Baron out of development. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to claim this region, Earlhart. We'll claim it, so it will become ours. Actually, yeah. That means the next time we get a bandit camp, it's going to have to be up in Luderflucht, which we might get beat to. We'll see. We'll see. Let things manage. We got our generic storage is full at the stonecutter camp. That stone deposit is depleted. So here we've got stone ready to work. Okay. Iron ore, iron slabs, those are being produced. We have a storehouse. Let's go ahead and put somebody there. How are we doing on capacity? Granary capacity needs another person. So we'll manage there. Food-wise, not a lot on vegetables right now. We got a lot of fish. We got eggs, which is great. We could do another vegetable garden here, although I think what we'll probably end up doing is a vegetable garden this way. But let's look at our trade. First things first, we'll get a horse, and we'll assign the horse to our livestock here. We get another one in about 30 days. And we're going to look for trade. The number one thing we have right now is we have iron slabs that will be ready to export. So they'll be in the crafting materials. And we can export each iron slab for 4 gold. And I think we'll do that. I will establish a trade route for 20. Now, we could send out tools, which I think are going to export for like 6. But we don't have a smithy up right now. And we want to keep our people focused. So for now, let's do our iron slabs. We'll export. This is a minor trade, so we can go ahead and do one for free. Our desired surplus, we want 20 surplus. And we're going to be able to start generating some revenue there. I'm going to do that first. We're going to build up a supply, a big treasury for our regional wealth, and let that fuel some future development. Now, in addition to having the livestock assignment, we just ordered a new horse. We need to have a family assigned that's going to do those trades so that we can go in and out with them. We need one more level 2 burgage plot, which I think we do have some construction going on here. That'll manage. We're coming up in September, so we should see maybe some apples on these trees. Not just yet, but yeah. Looking at all that. Looking at some priorities, we know these folks are going to want some surplus supplies. And you know, I would say the Lord of the Manor would want a well on his property right in the middle of things. We'll go ahead and get that constructed. So, the tavern is going to require ale, and we could import ale, we could do our own brewery, we could have a number of other factors there, but I think we're going to manage right now with what we have. We could import ale at some point, but we also need a cobbler. We need some other folks that are going to be some specialized industries. We can buy our way through that with some regional wealth, and then work on better deals with our next development point, since we do have 3,700 iron ore before we get to any risk where we need to deplete that. So we have 4 available living spaces, 1 with construction happening on it right now. This is a good point to stop and just take inventory of what we have developed so far. So we migrated our hunting camp. They're out here happily working between the hunter's camp and the tannery. Plenty of leather available. We have 8 iron ore, 53 iron slabs. We've got people working that here as a rich deposit. We've got our manor that started up, and with the intention, basically, of claiming, kind of fencing around the majority of our iron industry, since it's a key strategic resource. We want to make sure that's defended, protected. And we've got our trading post right out in front. We have our logging industry that includes a forester's hut, got a charcoal kiln, a woodcutter's lodge, our saw pit that have been just working like crazy. Got 1 good vegetable plot. I think we're going to need to do a couple more like that. And I wouldn't mind having something along the main road with a vegetable plot backing out from there. Although I do see this being developed a lot more with artisans getting out towards the manor. We have our standard wooden church, looking at upgrading that to a stone church in the future. And we have an area here that's going to be kind of chopped up, distributed for resources to be able to help with the future expansion of our village. This area will get more people, we'll get more buildings. I know we got a clay deposit we want to work on exploiting. And then back here we have 2 gigantic orchards, making the best out of our space and that 1 development point, so that we will have a huge surplus eventually of good apple food variety there. We have a few areas we can do additional logging industry, so getting foresters up, planting some of those fresher trees, and logging, woodcutting. We'll probably have our woodcutter and our charcoal stay back here, but eventually wouldn't make too bad of a deal to move our logging camp and some of this other material out. We've got stable spaces that will need to be built, and I know in the manor he would definitely want to have a place for his favorite livestock. And we'll have that kind of tie in here. Okay. Not too close. Maybe on these. Yeah. 2 stables. And we have claimed the region, which is great. We do have 10 bodies that need burial, so I'm going to assign somebody to the wooden church, even though these are the bandits. I think they deserve better, you know? We're at 6 of 7. Let's see if we need to pull anybody out right now. We've got storehouse, granary, trade. I'll pull 1 person off the hunting camp, since we do have a bit of a surplus right now on our leather supplies. And we see we've already got some apples coming in. That's wonderful. So, not the greatest harvest ever, but right off the bat to start seeing that come in, I'm liking it. We've got our generic storage full. That is our storehouse. we should be able to upgrade to a large storehouse, but I'm going to actually have this storehouse be the one that gets the upgrade. That'll go first. Okay, perfect. Trade is just about starting. We see who's doing what. They're transporting and harvesting. Good on ya. Good on ya. We see the folks working the bloomery. Great industrial area. Now, the next steps, getting our trade established, getting some barley production from our next region over. We did successfully claim that, so I think we'll be working that direction next time. Look at that, we already see some of the trees coming in on the manor property. So, good options for some natural cover. I think the Manor Lord would be happy with what they're seeing here. Great little complex. And, of course, a great region to start off with. So, from here, it's just picking priorities, development based on your needs, your preferences. You can continue expanding one direction if you want to go for military. I'm going to try and get blacksmiths set up. You could just trade, import everything you need, and meet your needs that way. So those are all great options, but really it's up to you choosing what you'd like to do for your settlement, what works best, and then what complements with additional settlements that are also within the region that you claim, and can make the best use of those resources there. So, with that, the very basic of the beginner's guide is done. We will start working on the trade aspects coming up next episode.